Welcome to the far north of the Scottish Highlands, a land full of raw, natural beauty, all played out in a huge amphitheatre of vast emptiness. Cue the music. This is the first time that I've been out with my camera in probably a month. And I guess having spent 7 months on the road running workshops throughout the Highlands and the Islands of Scotland and photographing every day with my clients, I just needed a break from my camera. I needed a break from photography. But having come out this morning, I realised how much I've missed it. I've realised how much I've missed seeing the landscape like this. This is not far from where I live. We've got Moyne House, which is obviously, as you can see, derelict property. And then in the distance, you've got the most northerly Munro in Scotland, Ben Hope. You can't quite see it now because of the cloud, but it's there. But it's just great to be out. I haven't got any fixed plan. I don't know what I'm going to be doing today, so I'm just going to drive around in my truck and just see what jumps out at me and see whether we can create something. But it's great to be out. But just because I haven't been out on my camera doesn't mean I've not been working, because I've now written a book. Now granted, I don't think this book is going to get me on any late night Saturday talk shows, and it's not going to sell as many copies as Prince Harry's Spare. But the primary reason for that is my book's not for sale because it's a free download off my website. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been putting together a 46-page free ebook about workshops in general and my own personal workshops, and it's something I'm really proud of. So if I can figure out how to put the link up in this corner here, I'll put the link up there. If I can't, I'll put the link in the description below. But apart from writing the book, I've also been doing quite a lot of printing for hotels and galleries, whiskey distilleries and things like that. So unfortunately, I haven't been lounging on a Caribbean beach or some far-flung destination. But it's great to be here. It's great to be back out again with you guys and back out with my camera. And let's get back in the truck and see what this morning brings us. Looking forward to it. One of the many reasons why I enjoy living and working here in the Northern Highlands is the weather. Believe it or not, it's the weather. I love the weather up here. I love its changeability, its unreliability, its unpredictability. And as a landscape photographer, that creates so many different opportunities, because it's during those, on a windy day like today, it creates so many transitional periods where you're crossing over in between weather systems, and it creates a fantastic opportunity to take some shots. I mean, to get here, I drove about 15 minutes and I came through a torrential downpour, and I figured if I carried on driving for another 10 minutes, I'd re-enter that storm. But here at Loch Eriboll, I've got a small window of a few minutes to take a photograph whilst the sun's out. So what I've done, I've set the camera up. This is a GFX 50. I put a 32 to 64mm lens on. And I'm going to go for a really wide panoramic cinematic aspect ratio. Primarily is because I want to get all of the land on the right hand side of the photograph and create a separation between the edge of the land and the edge of the frame. But I also want to get some of the sand, some of the sort of sandy beach in the bottom left hand corner of the image. So I'm getting a really wide image. A 16 by 9 wouldn't quite do it, so I've gone for the much wider image. God, it is so windy. This is a Scottish summer, early summer, and it's cold. I wish I brought some gloves with me. It's quite cold. I'm just going to put a polarizer on this photograph, because if I put an ND filter on of say 6 stops, it's going to give me an exposure around a couple of seconds. And as you can see, there's boats in the water, and I just if I freeze the frame to 2 seconds, those boats are going to move, and it's just going to look horrible. Plus, also, I don't like mushy white cloud on blue skies, which is created by a longer exposure. I'm not a great fan of that. I don't mind putting an ND filter on a 10 stop or a 6 stop. I don't mind that if the skies are white or grey or black. That's okay, but I just don't like it on blue and white. I tumble down this hill. It is so windy. Yeah, Loch Erebol. It's the deepest sea loch in the UK, I believe, or at least one of the deepest sea lochs. But it's a very, very photogenic location. And I always stop off here with all my workshop guests. They tend to get some really good photographs, so it's well worth stopping. So I'm going to grab this shot whilst it's not raining, and I'll bring you a little bit closer just to show you exactly how it's all been set up. Don't let this sunshine fool you. It is cold. I know it's a blue sky, but it is not a Caribbean warmth, I tell you. It is cold. So as I said, I've got the polarizer filter on here, the magnetic one from KASE. I just love these magnetic filters. They're just, there's just no faff, is there? Especially in conditions like this. You know, I remember the days when I was using sort of rectangular filters, and they were almost acting like an opportunity for the wind to take the camera and move the camera or just topple it over. Whereas these, it just reduces the effect of the wind as well, which is great, and I just love it. So it's ideal in conditions like this. So just the polarizer on, and now it's just a question of waiting for the timing. I was mentioning earlier on about these transitional periods with the weather systems, where it goes from very dark, grey, moody atmosphere to deep blue skies almost. What I'm looking for today is neither of those, but I'm looking for the transitional period between the two of them. So, and what that does also, it gives some kind of sort of patchwork light on the distant mountains as well. So that effect is creating sort of some texture and some depth to the photograph, and some interest to it as well. So it's a case of waiting for the timing to be right, I guess. So I'm just waiting for that transitional period of the weather systems. So I'm just going to hang around and wait. The wind's died down a little bit now, so it's not so bad. I suppose I could blend the images. I could blend a sunshine foreground and a moody sky, but I'm going to try and capture it all in one photograph. I think that's just a legacy from the days when, I mean, I've been a professional for over 30 years, and back in the days of film, and I think it's a legacy from those days where you try to capture as much as you can at camera stage. So I'm going to try not to think about blending two images together here, and just trying to capture it all in one photograph. So it's just waiting for that moment now. This hat has blown off so many times in the last 10 minutes. But it's fantastic, fantastic location. And it's great to be back out again, it really is. Let's get this shot, and let's see how it processes.
I only took 3 photographs at Loch Erebol. I wanted to capture the change in weather systems and its effect it had on the landscape, of which the rainbow was a welcome spin-off. Was it luck, patience, timing, local knowledge, or all of them? The only reason I captured this image was because I'd seen the speedboat journey into the distant fishery earlier on. And so I waited to see if it would return. It did, and I felt it added a little extra interest to this already beautiful scene. But it was this image I'd come to capture. That transitional moment when 2 weather systems cross over to create this gorgeous light show. A spotlight of sun on the spit of land with rain clouds all around and with the dark foreground. This is exactly what I wanted. A quite exquisite show.
Well, I hope you like that photograph that I took down on Loch Erebol. It's a beautiful location. It offers a lot of interest, a lot of depth, and some good composition as well. So, and if you get the right weather and be patient and just wait for the transitions of the weather patterns, it's well worth it. So I've come away from the loch because it got really windy down there, and I'm sure I got some wind interference on my mic, so apologies for that. I don't think wearing that coat particularly helped, but I've taken that off as well, so you can now hear me freezing to death as well as see me freeze to death. But on the way home, I've dropped in on this area here, this location beside the river, because we've got this relatively new bothy which has been put up. And it's not the most picturesque bothy. It's not the prettiest fishing bothy that you're ever likely to see. I mean, some of the fishing bothies on the River Spey and the Cairngorms are absolutely beautiful. And I'm sure this will all be in time when it's had a lot more wind and rain and snow and ice and sun, and it becomes a lot more weathered looking and a little bit more battered. It might become a little bit more photogenic. But at the moment it looks fairly new. So, but it's not particularly the bothy that I'm here to photograph, although that is going to be a major part of the photograph. It's the location, okay, because we've got the water, we've got the bridge. Now, it's not this bridge that I'm going to photograph. There is another bridge just over here, which is a smaller footbridge, and it's offers much stronger composition to the photograph. So I'm going to take you guys over this other little stream here and show you how including this little footbridge actually helps and strengthens and gives balance to the composition. But it is a gorgeous location. So I'm going to take you over to the other side and let's see where we can get it photographed. So this is the bridge. You're on the other side of the stream now, but you can see where you are now is pretty much where I'm going to be photographing from. So you can see how this bridge is really adding some balance and some depth to the photograph. It's really strengthening the image, I think, at least. And how you see it at the moment is pretty much how I'm going to photograph it, I think. I won't know until I get there. But this is a better bridge. You can still include this other bridge in the photograph, but by adding an extra element to the composition is weakening, I think, the photograph. It's a much stronger photograph if you just have this bridge rather than that bridge. So you just have this bridge, the bothy, and then the view looking beyond. That's the way I see things. when I get it set up in camera, I may change my mind and I may include that bridge over there. But for I think at the moment, I'm just going to include this bridge. It's quite sturdy, which it needs to be. Oh, I used to be so indecisive, but I'm not so sure anymore. I still haven't made my mind up. I've got it set up to include both of them at the moment. So I've put a wide angle lens on a 16:9 aspect ratio to include the second bridge. So at the moment, the first shot is going to include both bridges. Now that I've had time to have a look at it, I kind of like the balance that the longer bridge adds to the left-hand side of the photograph. But does it detract from this bridge? So I'm undecided. So when I'm undecided, I'm going to do both. I'm going to take a photograph with both bridges and then a photograph with just this bridge here. Now I'm going to use a polarizer just to take the edge off the glare off the water. So that it's making the water look a lot darker, which is more preferable. I'm getting less glare coming down from the sky. And I struck lucky with the light. It's not ideal light, don't get me wrong, it's not, you know, it's not. But at least it's side lit, which is a bonus. So at least not all of the bothy is floodlit. So we've got a nice little, some highlights and shadows, adding a little bit of depth to the building itself, which is quite nice. But yeah. I'm going to photograph both, and then I'm going to put a longer lens on, because I'm shooting here at 30mm on a medium format. So what's that, low 20s on a DSLR. So next one, I'm going to put a 32 to 64mm lens on and zoom in and just get the older, shorter bridge. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I've made a decision. So that's the first image with both bridges. And now I'm going to take one with just this bridge. So I'll swap lenses over so as to take out that left-hand bridge. And as you would have seen from that first image, I've kept the water from the river leading all the way down the right-hand side of the photograph. I haven't cropped the water from the river in on the frame. So both images will have the water going all the way down the right hand side of the frame. I think that adds balance to the composition. So this time I'm just going to take the same shot, different lens, and just one bridge. And I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm undecided, but let's shoot this one. Well, that's the end of my first day back at work. My first day out with my camera in a little over a month. But after being on the road for 7 months running workshops throughout the Highlands and the Islands, I needed a break. And it's worked because I feel re-energized and I'm so much more looking forward to the summer and the winter challenges ahead. Now I know there weren't that many images, 2 or 3 I know, but I'm trying to ease my way back into it. But please leave any comments below, very much appreciated. I'll answer all those comments, and all the likes and the subscriptions. It's great because this is a new channel which I'm trying to create and get off the ground, and all your support, yeah, definitely appreciate it, I can assure you. But for now, I'm going to head off home. Hope you've enjoyed the episode, and if you have, I'd love it if you were able to join me again for the next episode, which will be, again, capturing the beauty of the Scottish Highlands. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye for now.